homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, today I've got projects outside that need to be done and projects inside that need to be done, and woodworking projects and this project and that project. Well, I've just got a lot of apathy. I have not had the desire to do much of anything, and I don't know what that's about, but it always hits me about the holidays. I just get to where I just don't feel like doing nothing. You ever get that way? Yeah, I understand. Anyway, I've got some things I need to do. Number one is, before I can do anything, I've got to clean this shop up. It's a danger for me to work in it the way it is. And that's the way it is in the summertime. The shop gets cluttered because you bring everything in, just set it down because you're working outside. And you're not working in the shop. Well, it's getting wintertime, and I'll be doing some projects here in the shop that will eventually go outside, but not yet. The very first project I have to tackle is Crystal's pantry. I started on that, hurt my shoulder, couldn't do it, have been on hold for the whole time, but I'm going to get started back at that. What I've got here is some plywood. The very first thing I need to do is make a cabinet for the kitchen that will hold Crystal's stand mixer, her canner, that kind of thing. She wants to have those in the house. Well, in order to do that, I've got to make room in here to work. Now, I've got the stuff cut for that. I haven't cut it all. I still have to size it to make a cabinet. I want to make a cabinet about 32 inches wide and 68 to 72 inches tall. About 6 foot tall. Crystal's not a tall lady, so if it's over 6 foot, she'll have a hard time reaching up and putting stuff on that top shelf. So we'll try and put this cabinet at 6 foot so she doesn't have to get on a step ladder in order to get anything. So I'm going to get at doing that. I've got some 3/4 inch finished birch plywood, and then I'll be using some other stuff. And this is something that I can probably video. Just let the video run and you'll see what I do to build this. I'm not going to video me cleaning up the shop. That's a project that has to get done before the other does. So I will go ahead and start getting the shop cleaned up, and then we'll come back and I'll start ripping this stuff to size. Poop! It's one thing or another. The lift handle on my saw broke. Welcome to homesteading. Every time you try and do something, something seems to break. Or tear up, or something don't go like you planned, or... Oh, what a pain. That's all broke up in there. Now I've got to come up with some other way to raise and lower the saw blade. Ooh. Okay, first solution attempt. I'm going to use this. This is the nut that was in that handle. I'm going to put this on with a screw, and then just use a deep, well, no, I won't. My washer's too big. Hold on. Okay, everything is trying its best to... my camera's resolution was turned down and broke the saw handle. Then the camera kept turning off for no good reason. Now the battery's almost gone. I don't know what the deal is. Just trying to keep me from doing this video. Well, here's the way I'm going to solve my saw raise and lower problem. I'm going to take this screw, just screws into the end of the shaft, and this bolt, you'll notice, is flat on one side here. It's not really a nut, it's just a thing that sits over the shafts that spins to turn the shaft. So I'm going to take and put these on. You'll notice now, I don't know how well you can see that, but now my little washer doesn't stick over the side, so I can get a socket on this. So I'll just put a socket on it and raise and lower it with a ratchet. Now, I'm in kind of a hurry. I'm not going to worry about finding the right socket to fit that thing. I'm just going to put this on it. space I have is 13 inches deep and 27 inches across. Well, these are exactly 27. I opted to make those 69, so that gave me 27 left on each one. But these are the shelves, and they go inside the two uprights. So the two uprights are 3/4 of an inch wide. So that's 1.5 inches off of 27, which winds up be 26, 25.5. So these shelves really need to be 25.5 inches long. So I'll cut each one of these off at 25.5. Of a scroll saw or a radial arm saw is, I know that this is a perfect 9-degree angle, and as you go you can chip at it to make sure that you're right on the mark. Now, as far as worrying about some little tear out, I'm not too worried about that because I can turn that down on the bottom of the shelf. I want this top edge to be good and clear, but I'm not too worried about the bottom edge. But this is all going to be painted. It's not going to be stained. So it's going to be painted black to match the rest of the kitchen, if I can find the paint. I've been having a hard time finding that same paint. Also, when it comes to this splintering like that, I know what Crystal's going to do. She's going to put, this will be painted black. This will be underneath. You won't be able to see it. But she'll paint it black, and then she'll put that shelf liner on it. So, I'm not too worried if it splinters out a little. Okay, that's those two shelves. Now I've got to do 3 interior shelves, but now these will have to be ripped down narrower because I want to make it so that Crystal can put a curtain rod and put a curtain over the shelf if she wants to. She might eventually want doors, but doors will be a hassle where it's at, so I'm going to plan it for a curtain rod. I haven't talked to her about it. I might be messing up, but that wouldn't be nothing new. Now this time, I have to pay more attention because I'm going to be cutting with the saw with the line on this side of the blade because of the length of this board. So
Now I got to rip them. And when I cut these before, because it's just me by myself here, I had to cut these with the handsaw out on the forks of the tractor for the original first rip, knowing I'd have to rip them down on the table saw. So they didn't come out perfectly straight, but I'll take care of that now, ripping them on the table saw. Now on the homestead, there is no such thing as scrap wood. There's wood you can use for other projects and wood you can burn. So I need to do another project. I need to repurpose this old 2x2, this 2x3. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip it to make the shelf ledges on. Let's see, where's my... There it is. Got to raise the saw blade up though. Oh. I was going to use these, but they just don't seem like they'll be wide enough. It'll be a fine push stick. So let's get this cut.
Okay, that does the table saw work. I've got that all done. Now I can use the table saw as an assembly point. I wish my shop was a little bigger, but you know, that's just not the way life is right now for us. So you do what you can do when you can do it. Now if you have a lot of stuff to cut, like I need to cut 4 pieces to be identically the same length. Well, what you want to do is you want to make a stop here on your saw. It just makes all of those identical. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make them just a little bit shy of 12 inches so that they're not interfering with any of the assembly. So let's go ahead and pull this out here. Lock it off. Now set that up there because this come off of those, so it needs to be that width. And I'm going to make a mark. That's the width, but I'm going to make them all just a little shorter than that. So I'm going to take this board and pull it, push it about 1/4 of an inch past it. Not going to measure. Now I have a stop, and every time I run my board to that stop, they're all going to be exactly the same length. So let's start with this rougher one. Then to make the shelf rests. So I've got those cut out for the top and the bottom. Now, the inner shelves were at 11¼ was the width I made them. So I need to make these just shy of 11 1/4. I'll probably make them about 11 1/8 or 11 1/16. So let's get these out here. Pull that out. Lock it so it'll hold still. Get that out of the way. And now, I think maybe I'll make it right at 11 instead of 11 1/4. Let's go ahead and make it 11. Or 11, instead of 11 1/8. And I need 6 of these. So this is really where this shines. This radial arm saw shines. It really cuts down on the work. Cut an extra one because one of those others didn't look too pretty, so I went ahead and cut an extra one. Now, that's got all my materials cut to make this shelf. Now it's getting late. Crystal's probably going to be hollering at me for dinner here in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So I've got just enough time to get the stuff up off the saw. And then we'll come back tomorrow and I'll assemble the shelf and make the fascia for it. I will have to use the table saw to do the fascia, but it'll be standing up and out of the way then. So, whew, let's get at it. Here we're on the second day and we've got stuff to do. This week I've got 5 videos that are half done. So, I don't like to show you stuff unless I go from start to finish. But now I've got some big projects coming this winter that I'll just have to show you what I get done in a day or so and go with that. So I'll have to set a goal for a day, and then when I reach that, you'll see it, and then we'll go on from there. So I'm still working on Crystal's cabinet, but I need to cut some face boards for it. So that's what I'm going to get it doing now. I'm going to cut the fascias. I need a 3" at the bottom and a 3" at the top. And then all of the shelves need a 1.5" fascia board. So that's what I'm going to get at right this second. And let's get that done. bottom and top fascia boards on the cabinet. Now I need to set it at 1.5 inches for all the shelf faces. Right there. I'll give them a little more. There we go. Is a thing of beauty. Try my best not to reach across this saw much with it. That's always a good practice. And there's those two. Now 2 more will probably be enough to do all the shelving. Okay, it's time to start laying these out. So I'm going to move these shelves over out of the way. Now for doing these, my preference is a yardstick. It's just what I prefer to use. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do mark all the shelves where they go. And then I'm going to draw. Now I carry an ink pen in my pocket all the time, but a good sharp pencil is what you want for this job. An ink pen is not suitable. So let's start here and get our 3-inch mark. And a 3-inch mark there. There's that one. Now the next shelf's going to be 16 inches above that. So 3 plus 16 is 19. And 16 again would be 35, is that right? Okay. Now, now 16 more. Up here, this needs to be 3/4 of an inch because this is where the top shelf is going to sit. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use this piece of plywood to get that where it's supposed to be. And mark it. Same way here. Okay, there it's laid out. Now I need to put on my shelf braces. Now I'm going to use mechanical fasteners, screws, for these, but I'm also going to use glue. Now the glue I'm going to use is this Elmer's Glue All. It does just fine for working with wood. I know most people use Carpenter's wood glue, but this will do just fine. Matter of fact, you can see Homestead Quickie number 40 and it shows you. Or it tells you anyway. Alright, now in order to hold these down, this is like 1 1/4. This is 1 5/8, so I'm going to have a 1/2 inch worth of mechanical screw. Now what I'm going to use is a deck screw. And the deck screw means that I don't have to pre-drill these holes. I can just shoot it through. But we're also going to use a little glue. So let's start getting these on. One. Let's get a little glue down here. Too much glue can be as bad a thing as too little. Let's see if this is no, okay. Just being slow coming out. Now, what I do know is that this is the back. Now these 11-inch ones go on these. top. Got to pay attention. Yeah. The long ones go at the top and the bottom, and there should be 4 of those. That's it. There are 4 of them. And the short ones go here. Now, I'm going to move that around so I get good contact with the glue. Bring this all the way to the back edge because I left an edge here for some room. And now screw that down. Now any glue that squeezes out, because this is glue all and not carpenter's and wood glue, I want to get it wiped up if there's any glue left. The reason is when you try and sand it, it'll get all gooey. Now I've just got the rest of these to do, and then I'll come back to you. I've got it all the cleats on. They'll be drying over the next little bit. Now it's time to start getting the shelves on. Now what I'm going to try and do is get 2 of these center shelves on first. If I can get those on, then the other ones will be a lot simpler. So let's go for that. Now the center shelves are not as wide as the bottom and top shelf. So if I take this center shelf, put it here, you'll notice if I put it to the back, it doesn't come all the way to the end here. So let's get this shelf on this way, and then I'll get the other shelf on, and then we'll turn it over on its side and see if we can't do some stuff with it. I am going to use screws. The reason I'm using screws. Now, the whole reason I'm using screws with these instead of just using brad nails is Crystal's going to put her Canon stuff on this shelf. If you've ever noticed, all that stuff is heavy. All the glass and all that kind of stuff, and she's going to put her stand mixer and that kind of thing. So all that stuff is really, really heavy. So I'm going to put screws, but the truth is she will put shelf liner over all of this. So if there's shelf liner on it, you're not going to be able to see these screws anyway. Now the top and the bottom will get screws as well, but you won't be able to see them either because it'll be over your head and on the top side. So the screws are just a better option to hold everything together. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start right here with this one. And there was some tear out right here. And that's the part I'm going to put down on this so that we got a nice clear face on this side. Good thing of glue. Now I want this to line up with the back of the shelf. Two. There's that one. Now again, there's tear out on this from the saw because this plywood just don't hold up good, and my saw might be getting a little dull, so I'm going to put the tear out down so it can never be seen. Okay? Put it to the back. Line it up with the back. Oh, drop with the loop. There we go, there's one. And two. So those two shelves are soldered in. Now I can turn this over and attach the other side. Well, don't let it be said that here at College Hill Farm we don't show you warts and all. I cut these, and they're supposed to be where they come out here far enough till you can't see that. Well, look at there. It don't come close. I cut them too short, too narrow. They should have been a full 2 inches. So, poop. I screwed up there. And then down here at the bottom, the top will be okay. But down here at the bottom, when I put this on, look at there, it's too short. That should have been a full 4 inches. And I cut it 3. It's 1 inch too short. It's fine for the top, but it's not going to work for the bottom. Welcome to College Hill Farm in a hurry. I have got everything ripped. I have the piece for the top, I have the piece for the bottom, I have the pieces for the sides, and these I'm going to go ahead and start assembling that. Now, the fascia will all get put on with 1 3/8 inch brads and glue. I've found that brad nails are great, but they don't hold all the time like they ought to. So I like to put a little glue on with them. So I'll start. Now, okay, I went ahead and cut. I didn't know the camera died on me, but it did. So I went ahead and cut these pieces to go for the faces over these shelves. Now all these do, they don't provide any structural support. They just cover the front of the shelf so you can't see that it's plywood. Okay, that's all they're for. So all I'm going to do, I'm not even going to glue these on. I'm just going to tack them on with the brad nail. Now, to tie this in with the kitchen, I need to tie this cabinet in so that it looks kind of like the other cabinets in the kitchen. So, on part of those cabinets, I had used a piece of trim. And I keep all these pieces of trim that we've got. Okay? And this is the piece of trim that matches the other cabinets. So what I'm going to do is, if I don't knock you over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to match this top up here and fasten it on. And it won't need glue either. Here's what I'm doing. Okay, let me get this cut off. Now let's see what we got here. Okay. Right to the end, and right to the end, and right to the top. Now, this cabinet, when I do the sanding and stuff, this cabinet will blend in with the others once this is painted the same color. Okay, there's Crystal's new corner cabinet. Or, yeah, it's a corner cabinet, that's what it is. Now, okay, I promised you I'd tell you why I inset this way. You'll notice that these shelves are set in compared to the top and the bottom. Well, what I did was I made it so that right up here Crystal could put a curtain rod. Okay, where this is going to go, there's not room for doors to be opening and closing. So she can put a curtain rod from here to here and buy a curtain that matches the trim in her kitchen, and that will make it so that this cabinet fits in with everything, because there just wasn't room for doors. That finishes up Crystal's cannon shelf. Now, as far as the woodworking's done, I'll have to sand it tomorrow. I may even cut a fancy detail on the foot, but for right now it needs to sit overnight and let this glue dry. It probably needs to set 2 days and let the glue dry. And then I'll come in and sand it all, and then once it's sanded, I'll take it in and put it on the back porch, the heated back porch. And then we'll paint it black to match all of Crystal's other cabinets. Then we can set it into place. Now, this project took twice as long as I thought it was going to take. So, you know, these projects take a while. They're not simple, they're not straightforward. Sometimes you'll screw up and you have to rethink them. This is the second day working on this, and there's actually been like 4 days in between. I've got like 5 videos that are incomplete that I have to get done. Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homestead stuff all the time, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to one of those other 5 projects that I don't have done yet. Whew.